What's up everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today is going to be a very special day for me because I get to review and give my final verdict about the best monitor in the world, the brand new ASUS ROG PG65UQ, the 65-inch monitor, not a TV, a proper freaking monitor, which I've been waiting for well over a decade right now. I still can't believe it's on my wall here. It's in East Europe on my wall here, and it has been an incredible time with this monitor, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there wanting to know, is it as good as it looks like on paper? So if you're interested in that, stick around, because I'm going to be going pretty deep into this monitor, literally. I'm gonna leave my Amazon affiliate link down below in the description so you can buy it through that, and it costs around $4,500 at the moment here. Anyway, check out some close-up shots that I did from this monitor, and then I'm gonna talk a lot more about it.
Resurrected from the dead, hungry for revenge.
So hopefully you enjoyed all these shots, and I'm gonna of course show a lot more about this monitor in a second here, but firstly let's cover some basic stuff, right? The main things, the main technical stuff that this monitor brings you on your desk or your wall. So as I said, firstly it is around 4,500 euros or dollars, depending on if you're living in the US or in Europe, right? It costs more in East Europe than in US. It's ridiculous. But anyway, so 65 inches at 4K. Nothing maybe that special, right? Most TVs nowadays are 65 inches if you want a big display, right? And they all are 4K, right? But where things get really insane is of course the refresh rate and response time. 144 Hz is what this monitor brings on your desk or your wall, right? At 4 millisecond response time, which is absolutely incredible combined. And to top it all off, it does also have G-Sync support as well. And oh god, this is gonna be I still can't believe they made it. And it has HDR 1000 support as well, so the most perfect HDR picture that you can imagine, and everything this compiled into one big ass monitor, right? It's pretty breathtaking. And we also can't forget that this is a proper full array local dimming display, which has 384 separate zones for fold, right? Which is really nice. And also it is a quantum dot display. But alright, so now that we've covered all the technical specifications, right? It is I still can't believe it's on my wall here finally, after like 10 years of fading or something like that, right? But let's cover some other stuff as well, right? Firstly, this thing comes in a freaking huge box, but by some miracle the UPS guys managed to fit it in my tiny little elevator and get it up to my condo. And although some ASUS spokesperson on YouTube told there is no way one man can get it out of the box.
You better have a friend when you buy one of these, because there's no way that you're getting this thing out of the box by itself.
I immediately took it as a challenge, and oh boy, was it a challenge alright. Definitely get a friend to help, zero chance to get it on your wall by yourself though. But I did manage to take it out of the box somehow and put it on my desk. This thing absolutely dwarfed my PG65UQ, the ASUS ultra-wide monitor. Anyway, the first thing that I actually did to the monitor was to remove the very decent looking stand, because this thing really needs to be on your wall to get the best experience. At least for me, as I truly use it as my 24/7 PC monitor at around 1 meter distance. Now before we move on, let's quickly look at the right side of the monitor, because we can find a lot of different ports from there where you can, hook up your main PC, right, or your consoles, or both, right. There are a total of 4 HDMI ports and 1 display board there. There's also a proper optical out and 2 USBs with an uplink port as well. You also find the power plug from the side and a switch to quickly turn the monitor on and off if you wish. And you're gonna need this if you wanna sleep in the same room as the monitor itself is. Now while putting it on my wall, I decided to take a quick little peek at the insides to really understand what the hell is making so much noise. Yeah, this monitor has fans, and I'm not talking about your video viewers or something like that, right? When opening up the monitor, I couldn't get the top off completely because it was connected in one sneaky little place. I couldn't find a way to open it, but I had enough room to pull off the back of the monitor and look inside. And before thinking it had at least like 8 fans in it or something like that, I saw only two blower fans, which sadly make a lot of noise. To me, this was the only real downside of this otherwise a truly phenomenal monitor, right? And I tried to do a quick little noise test for you guys, so I'm gonna play this video right now, and maybe you can get on a small little idea of how loud this monitor really is. Alright, so before we begin, this is my room noise level at the moment without any hardware running beside my wall PC, but that's pretty much inaudible. All my fans are like 140 millimeters there and running on 5 volts, so they really don't make any noise at all. And also the video card is really whisper quiet. But yeah, this is the room noise level at the moment when nothing is running. So right now this is pretty much as loud as my PS4 goes here, running Uncharted 4, and it's pretty quiet actually. It doesn't really get any louder than this. Alright, so let's turn on the projector. Right, so now I'm going to turn on the PG65UQ monitor. Take a listen. Alright, so this is how loud the monitor gets, and it doesn't get any louder or quieter, it stays here, and it is pretty annoying actually, sadly, but at least the monitor is 65 inches big, right? So, and the fans are behind the monitor, so it kind of makes the noise a little bit, a little bit quieter, but it's still pretty freaking loud. Kinda reminds me of their 27-inch 4K 144Hz monitor that they made a little while ago. But hopefully they'll somehow improve the fan. Maybe it can regulate the fan via a firmware update or something like that. Or, make a new model with a, quieter fan or something like that. It is something that I want to see gone from any monitor. But if you want 65 inches, 144 Hz, HDR 1000, right, 4 millisecond response time, then you can't really say anything bad, right? It is kind of annoying, but I get it. We get 65 inches at 144 Hz, and yeah, that kind of makes everything up. Alright, so a quick extra test here. I put the microphone behind the monitor pretty much, right? So you get a little bit clearer idea how loud it exactly is. Okay, let's switch it off. Oh, so quiet. So, as you can hear, hopefully you can understand how loud this thing is 24/7, right? Sadly, it doesn't regulate the fan speed either, so it is this loud all the time. I truly hope that ASUS can come up with a decent solution here in the future, because this really is the worst part of this otherwise a superb masterpiece of engineering marvel. But alright, let's start talking about all of the good stuff as well here. Now, as I quickly mentioned earlier, right, it is pre-calibrated in the factory to give you the most precise color accuracy, right? So you don't need to fiddle around in the menu settings, which is really nice, right? And yeah, you also get a small ROG logo projector that you can mount under the monitor, but I feel it would have been much better to have it mount on the top of the monitor, so you could project the ROG logo on your wall or the ceiling in RGB. Now, it does also come with a small remote, which is pretty neat, but sadly it doesn't pick up the signal through wood. So as my monitor is mounted exactly at my desk level, I cannot use my remote. Thankfully though, on the side of the monitor we do find an array of useful menu navigation buttons along with a small little joystick. The menu itself is very well thought out, looks clean and very easy to navigate, and you will find a lot of stuff there to fiddle with. And yeah, you can even set a crosshair on your screen if you wish to do so. It also has two 15-watt speakers built into it, but of course, you know, switch them out to proper hi-fi system when you get the chance, right? Also, worth to mention, it is a totally bezel-less monitor, just 100% pure screen. So be careful when, you know, setting it up on your wall, but thanks to this, it looks so super clean and nice. I really love it. A small little thing I did notice though was that all of the four corners of the screen were a little bit dimmed out. I don't really know why, but they are a little bit darker than they should be. Thankfully, it is a very small portion of the screen and it has never bothered me at all. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is a proper HDR 1000 screen. I did a bit of testing and it's pretty great, giving you a lot more detail in the bright areas, and it just makes the whole immersion that much better. And of course, this is a true 4K monitor, which is a perfect resolution to have at this size, and also helps make the pixels look very small and pretty much invisible at about 1 meter away from the screen. Comparing this to my 75-inch 1080p TV, it was just night and day. Finally a screen I can look and not notice any pixels at all at a very short distance. Also, as stated, it is a proper 144Hz 65-inch monster that has just 4 millisecond response time with NVIDIA's G-Sync support. This thing is truly built for some serious gamers out there. And yeah, it's not 1 millisecond response time here, but my god, at this size, the vibrant colors with such a refresh rate and HDR is just absolutely incredible. And most people will never make out the difference between a 1 millisecond and a 4 millisecond display anyway. So this is a really right decision here to get better colors at just a fraction of bigger response time, right? Also, worth to mention, it is a proper quantum dot display with fault technology, right? that can dim 384 zones. And as I've tested many full array local dimming screens already, I'm glad to state that Fault is working even better than on any previous ASUS monitor that I have tested. The blacks are true blacks, and the light glow that you would get when moving something like your mouse cursor around or white text on a black background is at a pretty minimal rate here. But of course it can vary a little bit here and there depending on what the situation on screen is. But anyway, it's a very good job by ASUS here. So whatever game you actually launch on this monitor, you can be absolutely certain that the image that you get is the best in the world. There's nothing better at this size. Of course now you can get away with console gaming, which are, you know, locked at 60 frames per second, right? But even then, you know, a lot of TVs out there are, you know, at 20 millisecond to 30 millisecond response time range, right? So having a 4 millisecond 65-inch screen is still a lot better than anything else, right? And when you finally hook up your mouse and keyboard and launch some games on your PC, this thing is on another level. 65 inches that runs at 4K resolution, 144 Hz, G-Sync enabled, and you know, everything running at 4 millisecond response time. That and the addition of proper HDR 1000, Fault technology, and the quantum dot display itself, it all comes together here to bring you something absolutely astonishing. I still wake up every day in disbelief that this thing is on my wall here in bloody East Europe. ASUS has made the impossible, a proper big format monitor. Something I have been wishing since I got into big displays at around 2007, a time when I was looking for a bigger display than my 21-inch CRT was, and found out that TVs cost a fraction of the price of a monitor and are bigger than 30 inches, which at the time was the maximum I could find. So I started with a 37-inch TV and went up all the way to 75 inches. But all of that, I had to bear 10 years of 60 Hz at 30 to 35 millisecond response time. And crappy colors, no G-Sync, no HDR, nothing. Nothing but a big screen to enjoy some great games on. And hoping any company out there would make a proper big format monitor one day that would have like 144 Hz with low response time, like 4 milliseconds, right? And here we are! All of this greatness at just about $4,500 is, in my opinion, a freaking steal. If you're a serious gamer that loves bigger screens, I can vouch that this is exactly what you have wanted for all these years. This is it! It is as good as it sounds, just not the ventilator. It doesn't sound that good. God, I hope they remove it somehow. But still, I've been using this display in my living room for weeks now, and I have come into terms that my monitor now sounds like my PC used to sound when I didn't care about noise. But where could they go from here? Can ASUS make something even better than this? How can you actually top the top? How can you make something even better? And I did think out a couple of ideas that I think could be pretty amazing for big format displays. And here they are. Firstly, I guess it might be a pretty easy fix to add more radiators, bigger radiators, to already a pretty fat monitor. So we could have either no fans at all, or fans that can regulate the speed, or are just, whisper quiet. Secondly, I used the ROG PG65UQ ultra-wide monitor previously, and this was my first ultra-wide monitor that I totally fell in love with. In some games like, Path of Exile, which is my most favorite game of all time, it gave you a real advantage to see further left and right than the regular 16:9 resolution, right, 1080p or 4K. So I really hope to see a proper 65-inch ultra-wide. And I do mean like as big as this 65 inches is, but ultra-wide. So it might be even like 75 inches or something like that, right? But yeah, ultra-wide here would be insane. And that brings me to point number 3, curved. I've now used multiple curved monitors throughout the years, and I can vouch that curved is better than flat. Especially the bigger the screen is, you adapt to flat or curved in a matter of few hours to maybe a few days, right? But once you use curved, you do start to understand how much better it is than a flat monitor. It just helps you focus a lot better and it just feels right. But either way, a flat 65-inch proper monitor with 144 Hz is just incredible, right? Playing all your favorite games, the most latest and greatest games, upcoming Cyberpunk, I'm pretty sure is going to be absolutely amazing on this monitor. And of course, you know, Call of Duty Warzone is just so good to play on this display. And all sorts of racing games are just perfect. Of course, Grand Theft Auto and stuff like that is just something absolutely magical, right? Anyway, my final verdict for the ASUS ROG PG65UQ is going to be a proper 9.9 out of 10. The highest score I have ever given a product. The only little letdown is the really noisy fan. And maybe that at this size it could have been curved, or maybe had a wider brother, you know, an ultra wide version. And I guess you can argue that, you know, you really do need an insane PC to run games at maximum detail at 4K in the first place, right? And you really do want your games to run above 144 frames per second to, you know, fully utilize the 144 Hz panel. But anyway, oh god, this it's going to be it, right? I hope I covered most of the stuff, the most important stuff that I found out with this monitor here, and yeah, definitely you can't really go wrong here. For $4,500, just save the money and, you know, buy it if you love big screens, right? If you're really not that fond of big screens, I guess there's a lot better versions, like ultra wide versions, even from ASUS, and they also have a proper 43-inch monitor, which is at a pretty decent price range as well. Anyway, that's going to be it here. If you have any questions, if you want to ask something that I didn't cover here, ask them below in the comment section, and I'll be sure to answer them if I can, right? And yeah, if you liked the video, leave a like, and if you haven't subbed, maybe subscribe as well, right? And yeah, hope you're doing well there. Stay safe, stay uninfected, right? And hopefully I'll see you soon, guys. Ciao for now.